Our economy, of course, is booming, but not everybody is sharing in the wealth. Thousands of homeless live in the valley, segregated into rundown parts of the city and struggling to get a grip on prosperity. The homeless are the subject of a new book written by author and Professor Kurt Borchard. It's called The Word on the Street, Homeless Men in Las Vegas, and Kurt Borchard joins us tonight. Professor, welcome. Thanks for coming on our program. We appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Your book challenges assumptions about homeless men in Las Vegas. What are some of the key assumptions challenged by this book?
That homeless men are solely to blame for their homelessness, that homelessness is a character defect. Largely things like alcoholism, mental illness, substance abuse cause homelessness, and that homelessness doesn't occur within a social setting that also affects these men and their chances for getting out of homelessness.
I know that you talked, I believe it was to 48 men you interviewed.
Correct.
For this project. Many of the men in the book gave overlapping reasons for being homeless. What were some of the reasons? And what were the common themes that you kept hearing over and over?
Reasons were varied, all the way from coming here without really having enough of a stake to get a good start, to having disabilities, to having unexpected things happen in their lives, a divorce, some type of problem that led to unemployment, something that related to a roommate, a falling out between those two individuals. Myriad reasons that ultimately resulted all in the same umbrella thing, homelessness. And sometimes I think that's a word that describes so many different things that it's somewhat odd as a term to put them all together under one umbrella.
Right. And what you found was that there was, in many cases, there was no singular event that tripped somebody into homelessness, but rather it was a sort of a gradual slide, I guess, or a progression of things that happened. Talk to me about that.
It can be a series of events in anyone's life. A person might, for example, have a divorce that then might lead them to depression. That depression might then lead them to losing a job. That loss of a job then could lead to an unstable housing situation. They move in with a friend, the friend says leave, and the next thing you know, that's a homeless person. And that's just one example. A lot of people, it seemed, would make friends with a roommate who they didn't know fully well because they were new to the city as well, and that put them in a vulnerable situation.
Many of these people were attracted to Las Vegas, you wrote, by sort of the myth of Las Vegas, that you can come here and make a killing with not much. What, in fact, did they find when they got here?
I think they found it a lot harder than they realized, in large part because Las Vegas has a sort of a mythology to it. The streets are paved with gold. The idea is that cocktail waitresses and valets can make an incredible amount of money if they work hard and have a good job at a good hotel. But in fact, there are a lot of other barriers that may prevent someone from realizing that type of position. Sometimes they may have to get a union membership. They have to get a card, a sheriff's card, or another type of card before they're able to compete. And if they're staying at a shelter, or if they're unable to dress properly or some other problem like this, they're competing with people who already have those advantages. So it makes it difficult for them to be able to put their best foot forward.
In 2003, there was a homeless activist organization that labeled us, I think, the meanest city in the country.
That's right.
You know, for homeless people.
Yep.
Obviously, as you know, I mean, we're a city. Our image is one of a playground, and we guard that image very carefully here. And homelessness and homeless people can be fairly inconvenient to that image. What is the reputation still, in your opinion, of this city? Are we still a mean place for the homeless? I mean, how do you see the image changing of Las Vegas?
I think there is an ongoing pattern of criminalization of homeless people, and that's one of the things that the men in particular reported to me, a feeling that they were targeted by law enforcement for things that other people might be able to get away with, jaywalking, open containers. Whether or not that's changing, I think since I've completed the first study in 1999, of course the city has gotten a lot more wealthy-oriented in terms of the property values going up. I think there's an elitism that you're seeing more and more on the Strip. And so I think that kind of divide between the haves and the have-nots may be growing. And you know, it's hard to say where that will go. I can tell you that pretty much to a person, most homeless people I talk to think more homeless people will eventually be here. The problem will get worse.
It is an interesting book. Once again, Professor, we want to thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
Your time tonight. My pleasure.